Hi all and welcome to episode 37 of Plain Speaking Sanjiv. Today I'm going to speak a little bit about IT. We hear all these words such as agile and nimble and let's go digital and digital first strategy, etc. And I've often struggled to find out what exactly does digital mean. So let's begin with that. To me, digital just simply means paperless. And the airline industry has been leading the world in terms of paperless from the start of e-ticketing onwards. So it is just a fancy word to say, let us do away with paper and take things online or take things to a means by which you no longer have to deal with paper. So far so good. I have no issue with digital, excepting I don't understand why suddenly it has become like a buzzword, digital. The industry has always been wanting to be pro-digital. And if the surrounding infrastructure allows us to be more digital, for example, if security allows us to go paperless, if the entire check-in process can become paperless, then I think airlines will be all for it. So there's nothing at all which is preventing airlines or which airlines are against conceptually in terms of digital. We're all for it. There's no question about that. Now, when you talk about nimble and you talk about agile, these words are thrown around all the time. Nimble to me, simple English, means quick, fast. Agile also means quick to react, right? So what it denotes in you is that, look, we can get solutions done quickly, small bite-sized packages, one step at a time. You don't have to wait for months for the master grand solution or package to be developed. You can do it bit by bit and make lots of little improvements, incremental changes, tweaks, a continuous improvement kind of a process if you're nimble and agile. But in reality, what you see, and I think this is a huge opportunity out there for entrepreneurs in the IT space, is that the traditional IT players are far from nimble or agile. I'll give you one example. I had asked in one of my previous airlines that it would be useful to print the scheduled time of arrival on the boarding pass in addition to the scheduled time of departure. Departure time is there on every boarding pass, and the reason I suggested we should have arrival is that I would see passengers often calling up or asking the crew or calling the call center saying, what time does this flight arrive? And once you're in the aircraft, there's no ready reference. And if it's not a route you fly on frequently, you may not know whether it's a 1 hour flight, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, whatever. So having scheduled time of arrival seems like common sense. So when I first asked that we should put this on a boarding pass, the first response I got was not possible. That's another word that really, really irritates me when I hear that. I was just told, no, it's not possible to have scheduled time of arrival. When I said, what do you mean it's not possible? Then the answer I got back from one of these global providers of airline services was that no airline in the world prints scheduled arrival time. So I promptly went to the internet and I found boarding passes from airlines all over the world which had scheduled arrival time printed on it. And I showed it to this global IT provider. And I said, look, what are you talking about? So they said, okay, let us study it. And I chased them for 3 or 4 weeks. So about 4 weeks or a month later, I asked, what's the status? Can you do this for us? How long will it take for you to do it? And the answer that they gave us through our IT department was, yes, it can be done. It can take anything from 0 to 99 man days. 0 to 99 man days. Now, when you have a global IT provider who gives you an answer like that, you know that, life has become too comfortable for them. You know that they don't really care about customers. And you know that there's an opportunity now for a new digital disruptor to come in and start actually caring about customers and giving answers that make sense. So you have this provider who at first said it's not possible and then gave an answer that was so annoying, irritating, 0 to 99 days, that they're basically telling you, we don't care, don't do it, it's not interesting for us. Eventually it got done. We got the scheduled arrival time printed, and then we ran into another problem where if the flight was delayed, the arrival time would sometimes show before departure time, i.e. if the flight was 2 hours delayed and it's a 1 hour flight, the departure time would be updated to show a 2 hour delay, but the arrival time would be the old arrival time. So passengers would say, hey, how can your flight be arriving before you leave? And so I went to them and I said, look, what happened here? So you never told us that you wanted the arrival time to be updated when the flight timing changes. So again, it shows immense either ineptitude or arrogance that an IT provider of global presence needs to be spoon-fed the basics. So again, the basic point I want to get across is agile, nimble, all these are lovely buzzwords, digital, but we need to focus on the basics. We need to actually focus on getting stuff done which is important and relevant to customers in their day-to-day journeys before we start thinking grandiose plans about, the next revolution and so on and so forth. and presenting all these seminars and presentations. Let's fix the basics and let's focus on what are the customer pain points and make them right. Now, there was one company that started in, I think, in the early 90s called Open Skies. And it was actually started by David Neeleman, who went on to found JetBlue and then Azul, and now he's starting Breeze in the US. And Open Skies eventually got acquired and is now basically Navitaire, which really was a disruptive software for the airline industry because A, it brought down distribution costs very sharply, and B, it actually allowed you to do a lot of things like what I just talked about, the check-in time or the scheduled arrival time to be printed, allowed you to do a lot more things very quickly. And it really changed and disrupted the traditional IT providers market. And Navitaire is used mainly by low-cost carriers. I think there's a huge opportunity for a similarly disruptive product or entity to be out there for the full-service carriers as well, so that there is real competition and so that we get away from this mentality that some of the leading global providers have today of taking the customers for granted. And again, to all IT departments and global firms, please, let's not just talk buzzwords of agile and nimble and digital. Let's focus on actually getting the basics fixed and getting things delivered on time and at reasonable cost. So that's it for today. I know that I'm a little bit, I might be sounding a little bit almost emotional, but this is something that has really been of deep concern to me in the 6 years I've been in India. And I think it's high time that these IT providers get called out, and it's high time that new IT providers take this opportunity, shake these old providers out of the complacency, and create disruption in the market. All right, take care and see you again tomorrow. Bye.